Acha, like you
Yeah, I mean,
mentioned,
yeah.
okay, you guys are in Lahore, and you started with some. What's the backstory? Like, how do you guys meet? How do you get together? Are you from Lahore? How do you get into music? Story, puri story chahiye.
Sure, you can start. I'll jump in.
Basically, पूरी story ये थी कि we're both actually from Lahore, but we were not here before. ये भी
Okay.
Canada में था, मैं भी England में था.
Okay.
And then we both were in Lahore at that time जब हमने basically हमारी दोस्ती वगैरह हुई. We were a small group. We used to like hang out together और काफी musically कह लें कि
Like-minded लोग थे काफी
like-minded
सारे।
लोग थे सारे musically. तो उन्हीं के साथ ही हम ज्यादा हैंग आउट वगैरह करते थे और वहीं से हमारा रिलेशनशिप एज फ्रेंड्स स्टार्ट हुआ. Then he wanted to start DJing and he wanted to learn about it.
Yeah.
I was like DJing before and then producing before as well. तो फिर इसको मैंने थोड़ा बहुत ट्रेन वगैरह किया and then we started like actually हम जेल भी अच्छा हो गए थे as persons, personalities and musically as well. तो वो अच्छा एक मिक्स हो गया हुआ था.
What
फिर
time
हमने कहा कि
period
why
are we
don't
talking
we
about?
like create something out of it. This is probably, I don't know,
10 years ago.
Oh,
more
shit.
than 10 years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah. So he moved back from London, or like I've lived in London too. So हम दोनों के जो influence थे, we both were like huge Fabric Boys और हमें काफी UK की vibe काफी अच्छी match होती थी. तो I came back to Pakistan और हम एक gig पे मिले थे. He was playing over there and he was producing काफी साल पहले से. So I kind of knew about him. But इसकी काफी house में काफी minimal vibe थी जो बहुत कम लोग सुनते थे उस वक्त. So, I was into house music as well. And I thought, maybe we can upscale it a little bit. Let's, perhaps record a couple of sets together and see how it pans out. Because उस time लाहौर में gigs और कुछ platforms locally, legally तो थे नहीं. बहुत कम लोगों को पता भी था कि house music, electronic music है. कि I'm talking about like 10 years ago. Of course, like there was a huge market in Karachi before us, like Faisal and all these guys were doing in, their scene. But कराची में जरा था ज्यादा, बट लाहौर में कितना नहीं था, बहुत कम एक दो लोग ही थे जो कर रहे थे. So luckily we all came together and we kind of created our own scene. We started playing for friends, small circle, and we loved it. Like it turned out, whatever we brought on the table was something new. And we kind of always had few standards for ourselves कि यार हमने gigs के लिए नहीं जाना, because जो भी gigs मांग रहा होता है ना उसको कोई gigs देता नहीं है. वो यूजुअली डीजेइंग के लिए यहाँ पे यही क्राइटेरिया कि आपकी क्राउड पुल कितनी है, आपकी गेस्ट लिस्ट में
connections
कितने लोग हैं, आपके कनेक्शंस कितने हैं. सो वी लाइक वी गोइंग टू मेक आवर म्यूजिक टू द लेवल जहाँ पे लोग हमारे पास आए, rather than we going to them.
Okay.
So I think we did pretty well in terms of basics. और हमने शुरू से ही अपने आप को अंडरसेल नहीं किया, even though when we were not even a little bit of popular in Lahore, we were still charging for minimal amount of fees. के तब तो ये standards नहीं थे कि DJs ने बस आके free में बजाने. They're doing you a favor, right? But we always, we learned to say no initially. So that kind of created our own niche as well. There were people who were coming to listen to us. So yeah, वहाँ से शुरू हुआ scene.
You mentioned that you were turning down gigs, and 10 years ago, you started playing. Where were you playing? एक तो what sort of venues, locations, and if you're turning down gigs, that means you're turning down money. Were you guys like pursuing day jobs? Yeah, क्या हिसाब था?
Yeah, that's a great question. So initially we started off with small circle. हम लोगों के कुछ दोस्त थे who had their own places like farmhouse and all, और like अच्छे घरों में अच्छी vibes, rooftops. Yeah, I think it was the first time हम एक स्कूल के कुछ बच्चों ने rooftop gig बनाई थी, और like he was playing there and I just that was the first time perhaps me on the decks.
Yeah, we mixed together.
Yeah, so I think that's where we realized कि यार थोड़ा सा scene हो सकता है अच्छा. But again, coming back to the second part, what was the second part? Sorry, I forgot.
Like, what were you doing if you're not making a lot of money? What's
yeah, so we both had like day jobs शुरू से ही. वो होता है ना, आप जरा बाहर से डिग्रियां करके आए हो तो घर वाले माफी तो नहीं देते आप. वो एक डिलीवर करने का सोशल प्रेशर होता है कि 10 लाख तड़ी पढ़ाइयां दे लग गया है ते कमाने की हो मरासी बनना तुसी. तो ये सिचुएशन थी, तो हमने थोड़ा सा डे जॉब शुरू रखा. बट like we were really passionate about this. Like we didn't really care कि हमने रात सारी gig करके सुबह काम पे जाना है. We would show up like इसका Saturday को काम होता था, I remember, और हम Friday की ये gigs करके Saturday पे सुबह office जाता था.
Without sleep,
Right.
without anything.
Sleep and everything.
सुबह उठ के दोबारा आप काम.
Yeah, and that's how crazy, you know, we still are, maybe, you know. It depends. But just that, you know, now we have matured a lot. वो एक age का expand गुजर जाता है काफी कि आपने
वो एनर्जी नहीं रहती,
वो एनर्जी थोड़ी सी डाउन हो जाती है,
पैशन नहीं रहता probably.
Yeah, I mean,
या आपकी बॉडी आपका साथ नहीं दे रही होती है.
or also maybe, you know, it gets to that sort of thing where शुरू में तो even if you're trying to pick and choose your gigs, कुछ अरसे के बाद you're like नहीं bro, मुझे पता है मेरी value क्या है and I will play according to my thing because I don't want to just, you know, run after opportunities. तो लेकिन you guys said कि you know, there was like a shift in the vibe पाकिस्तान में कि पहले gigs नहीं थे इस तरह के, पहले electronic music तो बिल्कुल नहीं था, house music और कम था. Did that shift in this 10-year journey? क्या has it shifted या 2 साल पहले की बात है?
I think it's totally changed now because now people are more मतलब वो सुन सकते हैं अब आराम से. पहले इनको ये मसला था कि they just didn't understand it totally. Now I think people do understand it.
Right.
और people also listen to other musicians as well. मतलब पहले इतने ज़्यादा musicians भी नहीं आप सुनते थे. ये Tiesto, Armin van Buuren और ये सारी होते थे.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
People want to discover new music. अब Boiler Room, Circle, इन सबको वो follow करते हैं. तो I think majority तो आई है.
I think there's somewhat more acceptance of house music now, especially with like, you know, Gen Z and millennials. You know, that's the kind of sound they hook up to. But now thing is कि electronic के अंदर भी बहुत सारे sub genres हैं, right? Like we started off listening from trance or commercial and everything, right? And then, you know, we started discovering within the genre, and we found out that, you know, this is probably my cup of tea now.
Right.
Like I cannot listen to what I was listening to 10 years ago. I can't even imagine that, right? Perhaps even 3 or 4 years ago, right? But I mean, I know when I'm on, you know, stage or booth, like that's a totally different vibe. I mean, I can play or, you know, mix and match with almost everything because I've been listening to a lot of music for a really long time. So, you know, I have stuff in my arsenal to deliver. Right? Yeah. So you keep building your, you know,
your own
playlist and your own vibe, I guess.
Vibe basically hoti hai, then it develops with you and you just keep building on that actually.